of economy has been the object of extensive scholarly investigations. I'm just going to talk here quickly about Donald O'Brien, who wrote a lot about that. Jean Copin, who wrote with the Marxist view, the Marabout de la Rachid. Abdoulaye Wade, the former president of Senegal, who wrote in his thesis, The Economic Doctrine of Cheikh Ahmad Bamba, Foulet Koti, Jerusalem, and lately Cheikh Anta Babou, who did a great work in the Murid system overall and touched a little bit about the economics, and tremendous PhD studies in universities across the world. So how Murid economics fits in the Sheikh's ideal Islamic project? Almost all scholars have recognized that the economic success of Murids, above the average compared to other communities in Africa, is related to the sanctifying virtue of work ethics among the Murids. Also, some studies from the scholars inside and outside the Murid community agree that Murid work ethics are at the center of the Sheikh's writings in his conception that religious life is not separated of other parts of people's life and influences economic and political behavior. As a matter of fact, the other day when we were in Washington, D.C., Sir Imam Mor was saying that there is no difference in a Muslim's perspective between an worldly action and an afterlife action. And we will see that further. So in a writing of the Sheikh called Matlab al-Fawzaini, a masterpiece writing of the Sheikh describing the ideal Islamic society, in his founded city of Touba, there is no difference between only worldly activities and afterlife activities. So to his conception, all worldly activities bear on them an afterlife objective of Allah's worship and expected accountability and reward in the afterlife, which means that every transaction or everything a Muslim does, he does it for this world, but he looks for accountability on the other word and looks for God's reward or the opposite. So anything, it goes on both sides. So in theory, the Sheikh mentioned the emphasis of the spiritual significance of work in many ways, using khidma, it's very popular in the Murid literature, using amal, using kasbul halal, etc. And all scholars agree that Murid ethics is a key to the economic success in all fields inside Senegal and the diaspora. Now, how we link that to Islamic economy and finance? Islamic economy differs from Islamic finance because in conventional economics, the theories that men uses to address the above economic problems are based on modern secular scientific conceptions of the world, which is restricted to the world of reason and sensible experience alone. The theoretical construct is the basis of the Western secularist and materialistic worldview, which disregards God's lordship, sovereignty, power, control, and will in the universe. Now, this is not specific in Islam, because in the past, you see that Protestants had an economic doctrine related to their religion. So in this conventional conception, man's self-perception is that he is freed from any transcendent authority or higher moral order to behave vis-a-vis his way of interacting towards natural resources or to his fellow human beings, will therefore act in a utilitarian and selfish manner. So in contrast, the Islamic approach to economy is more holistic, offering integral spiritual views based on the teaching of the Quran and the Sunnah, the recorded saying and behavior of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, providing a better alternative philosophical framework for man's interaction with nature and his fellow man. Without doubt, Islam recognizes the role of reason. So in other words, reason is necessary to practice Islam. It's a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition because there's a limit to reason, according to Islam. So Islam accepts building knowledge about economy, but only in a manner that embraces the akhirah, hereafter.